Hey, what is up, everybody, and welcome to the Get Your Bell Rung Football Podcast. He is Kevin Reynolds. I am Bobby Wall, and we are here to talk all things football and hit you with some takes that might rattle you up a bit. On tonight's show, man, we'll briefly talk about the Super Bowl. It's been a while. I'm not doing that newborn dad thing. It's getting tougher us to get our times lined up. But I got some backup facts to something I mentioned on the show last week. We'll look into some fantasy wide receivers, top finishes over the last 4 years. Did it with the quarterbacks, did it with the running backs. Going to look at the wide receivers this week. And then I'm thinking maybe we talk about some quarterback needy teams in the NFL. But first, Kevin Reynolds, how you doing?
Well, living the dream, buddy. Had some nice weather here for a while, got on the courts. Then we had snow 2 out of 5 days. So that's been going on. A little chilly here now, but not too bad.
Maryland's weird in the spring, man. Maryland,
Yeah,
PA,
it is.
very
Yeah.
odd.
But it got me excited. I'm pumped up. It's gonna be warm soon, and then I'm back to my 60-hour weeks. I'm pretty pumped because I'm just about wintered out, brother.
Yeah, man. I remember living up there. Some of the biggest blizzards we've had came in March.
Yep, because it's the most moisture. Yeah, everything. Yeah, all the things seem to come together for the March are usually the big storms we get. So we got a ways to go here. I have no delusions of grandeur, but it is February 20th. So I got maybe a month and a half till I'm back full swing again.
Yeah, I got no snow down here, man. It ain't happening. North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina
Lucky
is going to
you.
be getting zero snow.
Lucky you.
Well, I could use a snow every now and then.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Okay. All right. All right. So I was thinking about something right before we got on the show here. My life in the last 2 weeks has been packed full of pizza. We went out
Pizza.
and got pizza. Yeah, we got pizza at a local spot like 2 weekends ago, which was nice. And then you have the leftovers a day or two after that. And then I had a school function last week that we had pizza at. My son had his birthday party this past weekend. Pizza, pizza, pizza. So I was thinking of the top four delivery folks, and we hit up the Taco Bell, the McDonald's discussion last time, or we got Pizza Hut, we got Papa John's, we got Little Caesars, we got Domino's.
Yeah.
What's your list them? List your top four.
For ease of ordering and lots of good deals and prices, it's Domino's. Um, Now our Little Caesars here is nice, our moist. I don't know if it was here when you lived here. It has the drive-through. Like you just
Yeah.
roll on up and get yourself a $6 pepperoni pizza. Sometimes it's freshly made. Sometimes it's like eating a piece of cardboard with some pepperonis on it. Like they cooked it last Thursday. Um, Papa John's is really good. I love the great thing about Papa John's. They give you the garlic butter stuff for dipping. But my favorite as far as overall taste and blast from the past is still Pizza Hut. It's just it. It's the best of those four as far as quality, taste. For me, a pan pizza from Pizza Hut is just the shiznit.
Yes, I agree. And again, we're not talking local spots here. We're just
No,
talking about
no,
the
no.
big
This is the
chains.
fast food chain stuff. Yeah.
And there's other chains like what is it, like Marco's or something that we don't have. We don't have. But
Oh,
for
yeah, like
me,
Lido's in Maryland.
yeah,
All these things. Yeah.
I'm with you, man. Pizza Hut is the king for me in terms of big box pizza,
Yeah.
right? It used to be Papa John's for the longest time, but it's been a while since I've had Papa John's and thought, boy, this was all right. Little Caesars, for me at least, is very consistent. It's not winning any
Yeah.
taste tests. But for me, I'm missing the I know what you're talking about. The old cardboard, we made it
Yeah.
4 days ago pizza. But dude, I haven't had one of them in a long time. Caesars, I think, is my number two, simply because you can hit that drive through $6. You got yourself a pepperoni and you're good to
Yeah.
go. Domino's is last for me. Man,
No, no,
you are
no. As
correct.
far as
Yeah.
quality, 100% they
Why?
are dead last.
They're terrible.
The thing is it's hard to come across a pizza that's bad. So they're the worst of those, but it still tastes good. Alexandra loves the garlic knots. We'll get some lava cakes. They've got decent subs I get now and again. It's just the ease and the price. And I've got like about 15 free pizzas coming to me. So all that makes Domino, and they're so fast and it's clean. Like you walk in our Domino's here, it's so clean and nice and well run. But quality and taste, it's definitely fourth.
I think the fact that you are talking about the subs that they have
Yeah.
speaks volumes to the quality of pizza they're throwing out there.
Well, that may be, but they are good subs and pizza. I like to get me a buffalo chicken sub every once in a blue moon. They're tasty.
All right. Do you have much to say about the Super Bowl? I mean, it's been talked about everyone,
No, we
everywhere.
haven't talked
Kind of
about
late to the
it. It
show
was
here.
it wasn't really exciting until really the last half of the fourth quarter. It was a pretty mundane game. Um, you and I talked beforehand. Again, some of your conspiracy theories are starting to come to light. I put something on our webpage of
Yes.
how their last three of these Super Bowl victories, they haven't had a single holding call against them. And I know they don't have a boatload anyway, but
That's not
zero.
true. That's not true because our buddy John McGrogan, a friend of the show, he posted a link. I don't know if you checked it out. The Chiefs, I think, from what I read, had the second most holding calls in the league this year.
Maybe. Yeah, I did see something about it, but I wasn't sure exactly. No, I didn't look
Zero
into
in the
it.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, zero in three Super Bowl wins. I mean, yeah, we've talked. Anybody knows football knows you could call holding on every single play. So to not call it for 180 minutes plus with this overtime straight, it's pretty crazy.
I love it, man.
It was a
Telling you.
disappointing game, but I do feel again, Andy Reid is the creme de la creme of coaches. I think he outcoached Shanahan
Yes.
again, and I wish and hope and pray that somehow the Ravens could trade for Andy Reid.
Don't we all, man? Um, Two blunders, big blunders for me. How many touches did Christian McCaffrey have? I think it was like the third quarter or something where they stopped running the ball. I mean,
Yeah,
McCaffrey was,
we had 22 runs, 8 catches, so 30 touches.
it wasn't enough.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, he had 160 total yards and it wasn't enough. When you have Christian McCaffrey in the biggest game
Yeah.
of the season and he's successful, he's making it happen. You give that dude as many touches as he can handle. You run him into the ground in one game.
Yeah, and your leading receiver is Juwan Jennings as far as catches.
Dude, let me ask you a question. Speaking of Juwan Jennings, who not only had a receiving touchdown, but joined Nick Foles as the only two players in Super Bowl history to have a receiving touchdown and a passing touchdown in the same game. He, I think he gets my vote for Super Bowl MVP if the Niners win.
I mean, he had a very
He
good chance of it. I
he
mean,
did it all,
he
man.
did the
He did.
most. My
Yeah.
issue though is when you have this, he's essentially in any other day, he's the number 5 guy on your offense, and you make him the focal point of your offense almost. Not the focal point of McCaffrey, but you're basically not using these other weapons you have, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
And look, okay, so then maybe the argument is, well, they recovered, they had a good defensive, scheme. And look, the Chiefs have a great defense, but Andy Reid gets dudes open. I don't know if you watched the last two Super Bowls, but he had guys wide open
Oh yeah.
in the end zone. That's what you do as a good coach. You scheme your players
Because
open.
he's not an egotistical maniac. He literally will scheme anything he can to make things work. He doesn't care what that. Whereas Shanahan's, this is my offense. I'm the offensive genius of the universe, and this is the way it's going to run. And if we lose, I'd rather lose with my ego intact.
Another blunder, and I mean, I hear people arguing against what I'm about to say. But given and I know it came out later that the 49ers said they did not understand the changed overtime rules in the playoffs, but you don't receive the kickoff in overtime. You have to know what you need.
Yes.
They came down and they get, was it fourth and whatever, and they kick the field goal in overtime with that first possession. The thing is, if the roles were flipped and the Chiefs went down and the Chiefs scored a touchdown, well, you're not going to kick that field goal if you lose the game. You go for it on 4th and 3. You go for it on 4th and 15. You got to know. And the whole game, everything changes, even with the play calling, because if the Chiefs score a touchdown, they get the ball first, they score a touchdown. You have 4 downs every single possession. Like
Yep.
every time you have 4 downs to get that first down. And it's just mind-blowing that they would
Yeah.
want the ball in that
And it's
situation.
different to the regular season. Regular season, if the first team scores a touchdown, the game is over. If they just get a field goal, the other team's guaranteed a possession. They can get a field goal and continue. In this, it doesn't matter what you do. You could throw a 75-yard bomb on the first play, get a touchdown, the other team still gets a chance to tie. The other
Unless there's a
thing,
defensive score, right?
well, yeah, but that's yeah,
Right.
because then all the other team would have to do is just take 3 kneel downs, right? But we're talking just offensively here. The other thing, and like Romo and Nance didn't really explain at the end of the game, is um, some people were upset online that they needed to rush more ball at the end because the time was almost out in that quarter, but that's not true. They could have had 3rd and 9 and time run out, and it would still be 3rd and 9. The time just continues into the second overtime quarter. So that's another thing in the regular season. If you get to the end of that time and you're down that field goal, you've just lost. If you run out of time, that the other team can run 14 minutes off the clock of the overtime. Actually, I guess, and that's another thing. It's only 10 minutes, 9 minutes of it off, kick the field goal. You don't even have time to score. So all these little things that make it so it was the stupidest decision. There's no way you could possibly say, like, we want the ball, we want to get down there and score and set the tone. Like, what tone? You idiot. You just made it easier for them because now they know what they have to do instead of what they could do.
We've all made dumb decisions, and then you live with it. You lay in bed and you're like, man, why did I do that? Why did I say that? I should have done this or gone there or whatever. Can you imagine laying in bed knowing, unless your ego is big enough, you don't blame yourself, but knowing that you made that terrible call to I don't want to say lose the Super Bowl, because there's a lot more goes into it, but to handcuff your team in the biggest game of the year in overtime. Can you imagine living with that? That's tough.
It's from a statistical standpoint, it is beyond stupid. But fact is, they still had to play football. If they could have
Right.
if they had just said, "Look, our defense would have just stopped them," it wouldn't have mattered. That's true, but you set a different tone, a different dynamic of what they're going. Like you said, the 49ers weren't necessarily going to go for any fourth downs on that first one, but when you've already know the other team scored, you've got to go for it on 4th and 13 from your own 22 because you don't have a choice. You've lost if you don't. You have to do it. So strange. The only other thing I got for that game was that stupid crap of Travis Kelce, who I dislike even more now. Slammed into
It,
Reed. You and I both know if we'd have ever done that when we were growing up, our coaches would have taken us by the neck and thrown us to the sideline. But worse was what was going to happen when we got home.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I at least will give him props for going on the show with his brother because his brother just straight up, Jason called him out and said, dude, you just admitted you crossed the line you shouldn't have. You made a huge mistake. And Kelsey at least finally owned up to it. So all the people that were online that were defending it, like, oh, it was the heat of the moment. Oh, you don't know the relationship. I'm not going to buy any of that crap. We've all played sports, and never in my life did I have the audacity to run up, slam into my coach, and scream holy hell in his ear for 5 seconds till one of my teammates had to literally drag me away. So at least I'll give Travis, I'll give you props for at least owning up to and saying, you know what, I screwed up. Kids, please don't do that.
Ugh, dude, times are changing, man.
They are.
Society is
I
making it.
mean, imagine if he'd hit him 5% harder and actually knocked him over.
Dude, what if that had been Bill Belichick in like 2005?
So I'm saying, yeah.
Belichick would have threw him out of the
Oh
stadium.
yeah, yeah. He might have cut him.
Dude, do you remember back? Do you remember when Mike Singletary sent Vernon Davis to the to
Oh
the
yeah.
locker room?
And Vern Davis went crying in the locker room,
Yeah.
crying in the
Oh,
press conference after the game. You're
80.
right. It's a different world. Like I said, when we were growing up, it wasn't just what my coach was going to do to me, maybe kick me off the team. It was what my parents were going to do to me for disrespecting my coach publicly like that.
Dude, the year is 1985. The Bears are in the Super Bowl, and Walter Payton shoves Mike Ditka and screams at him on the sideline.
They could probably kick the crap out of him.
Punch him right there in the face.
They said,
Oh,
I don't know if you've seen
God.
the interview. He said that a couple minutes later, he went over Reed and got Kelsey on the bench and said, look, basically shit happens. This was crazy. You shouldn't have done this. It looks bad. And you got to remember, this is the Super Bowl. There's 300 million people around the world that just watched that happen. We got, you're dating Taylor Swift. You should know by now the camera's on you all the time.
And good for Andy Reid for holding it together, honestly.
He did because You could
he had to
tell
be
he
feeling
was
something.
shell shocked for a couple seconds there.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
what was that? And I think it was Jerick McKinnon. Good that they cleared Jerick McKinnon for the game. I think he's the one that pulled Kelsey away from him.
All right. I mentioned something, I believe, on our last show that you thought was preposterous. Here I am with some backup. You ready?
Is it your little Aikman routine?
It is. It is my little
See,
Aikman saying that
I
Troy
can't even
Aikman.
buy into this because this is nothing more than your Eagles BS. And
Kevin,
it's just hard to even buy into with you
I
anymore.
I have arguments against Terry Bradshaw, against
Come on, we know
Joe
this is what
Namath.
this is, but give it to us. Give it to us.
Thank you, thank you. Troy Aikman, his very best season as a passer. He is quarterback. And look, he's got 3 Super Bowl wins, right? 3,400 passing yards, 23 touchdowns is the most passing touchdowns he's had in a season. And that season, he also had 14 interceptions. He only had 20 passing touchdowns once in a season, and that was it. Second most was 19. Out of his 11 seasons in the NFL, he only had 5 winning seasons. That's it. While he played, he had a Hall of Fame running back, a Hall of Fame wide receiver, arguably the best offensive line of all time. If I had you sit down and name famous offensive linemen, you'd come up with these names: Larry Allen, who's in the Hall of Fame, Nate Newton, Mark Stepnoski, Eric Williams. Like, this dude had everything given to him. Touchdown to interception ratio, 165 to 141. He was never an all-pro. Well, he played in a different time, a different era. I think you may have mentioned that. False. He had seasons with 432 pass attempts, 442, 455, 473, and 518 pass attempts. Those numbers put him right in the middle of the pack in today's NFL.
Yeah, but it was
Under
still a
60,
different offense. It wasn't nearly as many deep throws. But you're right. It wasn't that drastically different.
under 62% completion percentage for his career. Don't forget, on defense, Charles Haley, Ken Norton Jr., Darren Woodson, Neon Deion Sanders. The Cowboys did not need Troy Aikman to win a Super Bowl. And that's my point. They did not need him.
So what are you arguing? I'm not sure what are you arguing?
Brad Johnson, right? We said sometimes there are anomalies because he had that awesome defense in Tampa Bay. His in 1999 was his best season. He was with Washington at the time. 4,000 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, 13 picks. Brad Johnson's best season in the NFL looks exactly like Troy Aikman's best season in the NFL.
So what?
My argument
I
is
don't
Troy
know
Aikman
what are we? What
should
what is
not
your
be in the Hall of Fame.
overarching point?
Troy Aikman does not belong in the Hall of Fame.
That's,
You made an argument that you cannot tell the history of the NFL without Troy Aikman. I'm arguing you could make Troy Aikman almost any other quarterback that's half decent, and the Super Bowl wins are the same. Maybe they win more.
maybe they don't win any.
That's in my
This is
argument.
all just theoretical crap because he did win 3 Super
Sure.
Bowls.
Obviously, it's theoretical.
I don't know what to say. You can't just use straight up stats.
You could try.
You
You're
know,
right.
by Ewan McGrogan stats, Dan Marino was maybe the worst quarterback that ever lived because he didn't win a Super Bowl.
Oh
By
no,
your stats, Jalen Hurts is total trash. Did you read that article that came out today that was written by Chris Sims? Just ripping Jalen Hurts apart for all the same reason you just said. You have all these playmakers. You had this badass defense. You had all this stuff, and look, you're still losing.
we didn't have a bad.
Not this year he didn't, but last year he
yeah.
had a record-setting NFL all-time record-setting defense. So
Yeah.
you could pick things apart and throw stats out and throw this out, but all of it is really meaningless. The guy won 3 Super Bowls. He was the leader of the team. I admit he didn't have crazy stats, but he's there. I mean, part of the reason he didn't have a lot of touchdown throws is because Emmett was busy running in 20 a year. I don't know what to tell you. I don't really care if he's in the Hall of Fame or not, but I do feel that it's definitely difficult to write the history of the NFL without the core of that dynasty, because they were pretty hardcore. They were tough to beat.
Sure, but they didn't need him.
Well, you could say that they didn't really need Emmett either. There was half the the running backs in the league could have ran in there and ran behind that line. You didn't really need Michael Irvin and his plodding down the field. You can make a argument you didn't need Dion. They won 2 of the Super Bowls without Dion.
Keep going. I like this. Keep
That's
going.
what I'm saying. You can make a
Screw
case
them
that you didn't
Cowboys.
need any particular one of
Boo.
them.
Boo, Dallas. No, but for real. Dude, don't get me started on Emmett. I'll do a whole show on how Emmett is the most overrated running back of all
I
time.
think I agree with you, but I also feel that he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, I agree. Emmett belongs in the Hall of Fame. He has Hall of Fame numbers. Troy Aikman doesn't.
The only real numbers he had because of longevity. That's about it.
And the greatest offensive line ever assembled, quite possibly.
So
All right, that
I
felt
don't
good.
know how you would. I'd hate for you to be a Hall voter then, because it's obvious your allegiances to the Eagles would affect your voting greatly. And then you get
No,
all
I would have
these other
voted
weird
Dion.
things where the most obscure players would end up Hall of Famers. So players that actually won who didn't put up quite as good as stats wouldn't. It's the Hall of
Dion
Fame,
gets
not the
in.
Hall of Stats.
Emmett gets in.
Well, yeah.
Michael Irvin probably might get in. I have to take a closer look at him.
Like, I still can't believe that people like Torrey Holt aren't in. It's
Yeah,
insane. Antonio Gates, arguably the second best tight end of all time, doesn't go in on his first try. It's just a bunch of
yes.
stupid old men with their stupid thoughts, their allegiances to certain teams, guys that won't vote anybody in on their first chance out of some stupid ancient
Dude,
reason.
Antonio Gates is wild. He didn't get in first ballot.
It's just all these things. It's all stupid. Like look at Bradshaw or Joe Namath, more interceptions, I think, than touchdowns. How do you
That's
write the
right.
history of the NFL without Joe Namath in it?
Okay, if he did not guarantee a win, then he's not in. Like
Maybe
he
not,
did
but it's the
because of the
Hall of Fame,
circus
not the Hall of Stats.
he created.
Not the Hall of Stats.
But that's also a thing where it's up to the interpretation of the voter or whoever. Is the Hall of Fame based on stats or is it based on telling the story? And I kind of lean both. I see both
It's got to
sides.
be both, but it's got to be the story, because there's all kinds of people in the Hall of Fame that never played it down.
Oh, like front office guys
Front
and all that
office
stuff.
guys. I don't know if there's maybe a referee or two or commissioners or all these things. They didn't even play, and they're still in it. What were their stats based on? How many first round? Not how many great first round picks. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I,
So much of this is just relative to the player, to their era, to what they were doing.
could say someone like Ozzie Newsome being in the front office with the Ravens,
He could be in
being the
twice.
general manager. Yeah, right. And drafting all of
Right.
those incredible players.
Right.
Yeah.
Already, and as a player, you could put him in a second time as one of the best GMs ever.
Will be. He will be.
Well, he's
I'm
already
pretty
in it
confident.
once. I don't know if they'll really elect him twice, but I imagine it would say something under his
Mm-hmm.
plaque that also
Okay.
he did this.
Okay.
He's already been, or Ditka could be elected as both, as a tight end, who at the time was in his day the greatest tight end, he revolutionized the position, and then as
Right.
a coach later. There's just so many things to go to. I just want my Hall of Fame that I can go in there and see a name and like, yes, this guy meant something to the NFL. This person belongs here, instead of just straight stats. That's why I don't know why, like Torrey Holt. He's got all of it. He's got the stats and the Super Bowl ring. I don't know how he's not in.
All right.
How did
That's
Andre
fun.
Johnson get in on his first try? Really?
Over Gates. I know that one. That one's I struggle with.
He was a great player, but I don't know that his first try, that just seemed odd. At no point did I ever even consider him the best receiver in the game in any given year. He might have put up some stats close to it, or maybe even was one year, but I still want to put him over some of the other guys.
I wonder how many All Pros he had.
Don't know. I saw all the
Probably
stats
more
when
than
he was
Aikman though.
elected. They had it all on
Probably
there.
more than Aikman.
I don't
Zero.
know offhand. I don't know. It's all very subjective, and you have to take yourself away from your certain allegiances.
All right. Let's look at these fantasy wide receivers over the last 4 years. 2021. I'm sorry, 2020, 21, 22, and 23. There were 3 wide receivers that made the top 12 all 4 years. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs. They surprise you?
Does it surprise me that they were all top 4 the last 4 years?
I'll tell you, I'll be surprised if Diggs is on it next year.
It's got almost no chance. I'll be surprised if he's even on the Bills next year.
Oh gosh, man. How did he really fell off the second
What a
half of the year?
freaking diva.
Well, he started on fire too,
And
man.
he's going to be going. Gabe Davis all but got on Twitter today and said, "Yep, I'm not going to be back here." So
Well, yeah.
they're going to be starting over, but I think they'll make a splash or get somebody big in the because there's some solid, at least 5 solid receivers coming out. They should be able to land one of them.
Yeah, we'll hit them maybe next week or the week after. JJ, Mike Evans, and AJ Brown made 3 of the 4 years. DK, Debo, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and Amon Ra. Your boy, Amon Ra.
There's my boy.
Yeah, they made it twice, and then a bunch of 1-year guys.
Well,
But
some of them
Jamar
weren't even
Chase,
around all 4 years, so like,
right? Oh yeah.
Rise, yeah. And which year did
Um,
JJ miss? This year because of he missed like 8 games, 7
correct.
games.
That's correct. Yeah, because Jefferson's been a monster since he got in.
Yeah.
And then, man, what a I don't know, letdown's not the word, I guess, but Jamar Chase, man, only making it twice. Just injuries are killing him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
hurt all
know.
the damn time. It's hard when you miss half the season.
Yeah. 2 of those years, 2020 and 2022, were right around 300 points. And then we had Cooper Kupp in 21 that blew up to 367. And then CeeDee Lamb this year at 335, second most over the last 4 years. But then the bottom 12, it's interesting to see how this works out with almost every position. The top one is separated minus Cooper Kupp's 367, but usually within 20 points or so. And then the bottom, same deal. We got Allen Robinson, believe it. 2020 was wide receiver number 12. But they ranged between
Was he with the
199
Bears then?
and 214. No, that was well,
Jags?
hold on.
Who
It had
was
to
he
be the
with?
Bears. I can't remember. It might have been his Jags year. Dude, I don't know. We have to look that up quick.
I'll look him up right now.
Yeah, do that. Do that. 2020 was the year. But yeah, man, we got and the new guys coming in to this year that had not been on it before. Rookie sensation Puka Nacua was wide receiver number 4. Nico Collins coming out of nowhere. What was this, his sophomore year? Making it, he was number 9. That was surprising. And I think in points per game, Tank Dell was up there too. Boy,
Oh yeah.
you have to watch out for these Houston receivers. I'm excited for that young squad, dude. Sweeping the awards. We didn't even talk about awards yet, but offensive rookie of the year and the defensive rookie of the year. Man, people were questioning them when they took Stroud at 2 and then traded away the farm to move up to number 3 to take Will Anderson back-to-back picks. And my gosh, did that pay off or
I
what?
have one fear for them though, that they're too much too quick.
You think so?
We could have a little sophomore slump next year if our heads get a little too big for ourselves. But boy, do they have a stacked lineup if they can fit some pieces. Allen Robinson 2020 was Chicago.
Okay.
Under 2 catches, 1,250 yards, 6 TDs.
About that.
Not bad.
Good for him, man. But we talk about a drop off.
Oh yeah, he just re-up. I think he re-upped a couple weeks ago with the Steelers. I think they really wanted to keep him for depth. That'll be awesome. He should get 2 to 3 targets per month.
Depth?
They're going to now have the worst, most awful fantasy lineup in the world, unless you have Najee Harris or Jalen Warren.
What if they bring in Russell Wilson or somebody?
Poor George. What's it going to matter if you hand the ball off 47 times?
It's true.
Arthur Smith is the worst.
That was a great
the worst,
segue.
Jerry, the worst.
Love Seinfeld. Great segue. Quarterback needy teams. I'm going to throw out some. There's a bunch, I think. I will see what you think about a few.
Is.
Right.
And by you and McGrogan's theory, there's every team in the league needs a new quarterback except for the Chiefs.
Just about. And then we got some free agent quarterbacks and maybe some others on the move. So you give me a yay or a nay if you think this team needs a quarterback. New England Patriots.
Yay.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yay.
Tennessee Titans.
Yay.
This is fun. Las Vegas.
Yay, because Garoppolo will be gone.
Denver. We have to assume Russell Wilson's gone,
yeah,
correct?
There's no way. There's no way. And they put his house up for sale this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yay. Definitely yay.
New York Giants.
Nay.
Okay. Washington.
Yeah. Yay. He's awful.
Minnesota, I mean,
Well, that all depends.
on Kirk, right?
Right. If they can get Kirk back, they're fine. Otherwise,
Right.
boy, the other
Yeah.
4 of the 5 guys that they played out there were awful. Awful.
Tampa's got to be a yay, unless
Well,
they
it's
bring
a
Baker
yay
back.
if they don't re-sign Baker.
Right.
But all signs point to yes. David Putty was saying another Seinfeld reference.
Atlanta,
Yay. Oh, yeah, that's the biggest mess in the league.
Seattle. They just brought back Geno Smith for like
Yeah, they did.
million.
They basically paid him his bonus just so they have a backup plan in case the draft doesn't work. That's
So
all they
yeah,
did. They basically paid a $7 million retainer fee.
agree 100%. Dude,
As you know, I've been saying from the start, this is smoke and mirrors. You felt differently. I don't know how you
only
feel
slightly.
now,
Only slightly.
but if I do they need a new quarterback? I would say nay. Could they use a new quarterback? Yay.
Yeah. Dude, and you know what's sad? This one is kind of joking, but it's not. I wrote Carolina with a question mark.
No, nay, no. They got to give him
Oh,
a chance with an
oh,
actual
I know,
team
I
around him.
know, I know.
I can't do 1 year with that team and blame. Just like I don't think the Chiefs only win because of Mahomes. I don't think they only lose because of Young. That's a crop.
All right, 10-ish. So those 10-ish ones got yays, depending on Minnesota and Tampa Bay if they bring back
Yeah,
those
because
guys.
those are different situations with just free agent quarterbacks as opposed to this is what we have. Could we do better? With them, it's we have something decent here, but we got to make the numbers work right.
The
But I would
free
love
agent
to see
class.
Cousins go to Atlanta. Oh Lord, I would love that.
Oh man. Well, but then he's away from JJ. You hate
I
that for
know,
JJ.
but he's got London. He's got those 2
Gordon
good
Addison.
backs. He's got finally Pitts has a real quarterback for the first time in his career. Because
Got
by the
Hawkinson.
time he had Matt Ryan, it was old man Matt Ryan selling an ice cream truck. It's not the same. I think it could be juicy.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. All right. So Kirk Cousins, we mentioned him, free agent. Ryan Tannehill, does he excite you at all?
Why on earth would like there was talk there for a while that he might end up in Pittsburgh? Like, why? Why would you want him?
Arthur
If this
Smith,
was
man.
Tannehill from 5 years ago, I said, yes, what an upgrade. He's done. It's over.
Backup, right? How about Gardner Minshew? Let's say you're Tampa and Baker goes somewhere else.
I wouldn't mind bringing a stash in. It had to be a team friendly contract.
Oh, of course. Oh, well, he's going to be
He's
team
too
friendly.
up and down. He has too many good games, too many games that are just he literally loses the game for the team with his fumbles and picks. But yeah, he's a better backup than a lot of these. As a backup, he's better than a lot of the starters in the league.
Well, I mean, he proved that with the Colts this year, I
Yeah,
thought,
so
as the
I can
starter.
handle
Yeah.
that. If you lose Baker to bring Stash in, it could be much worse.
I think with the Colt, if I'm the Colts and I have Anthony Richardson on that cheap rookie
Yeah.
deal, I do what I can to bring Gardner Minshew back because he knows your offense. He's already showed that he can win some ball games. I do what I can to make sure he
I
stays.
saw Vegas odds the other day. He's like in the top 10 for MVP next year.
Who? Oh,
Anthony
Richardson.
Richardson, if he could
I
stay
like
healthy and
Anthony
put up the kind of
Richardson.
numbers he did those first 4 games.
Well, I mean,
Big
we get
parts with
this.
Mike Pittman coming back. Free agent.
Oh man, I know. We'll get to those wide receivers,
And
but
with Tampa too, big thing is Evans
like
coming back.
Evans, right?
It's huge, dude. The most reliable receiver in the game.
In history.
Yeah,
He's
you're
the
right.
only one
Absolutely.
to
In
go
history.
10 straight years
100%.
with 1,000 yards, right?
100%.
I don't
Most
think Jerry
reliable
Rice did.
ever.
I could be wrong. I
Nobody's
don't think
put up
so,
these kind of numbers ever.
same.
10 years straight like he has. No,
All right,
no sign of slowing down either.
I'm going to give you a list of a couple here, and you just, if you had to pick one that you want the most, you tell me which one it is. Josh Dobbs, Mason Rudolph, Jacoby Brissett, Mitch Trubisky, Drew Lock, Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Mariota, Sam Darnold. This is
Mason
the
Rudolph. Not even close.
really
He's the only
interesting.
one that is proven that he can win. Might not be
Josh,
as flashy as the others, might not throw up 70 rushing yards. He's the only one that wins. He
I think
wins. That's all
I
I
might want
care about. I
Brissett,
want to win.
to be
I wouldn't
honest.
care if Lamar threw for 2,000 yards and 7 touchdowns if the Ravens win the Super Bowl. I don't care. I want wins.
How sad is this quarterback free agent class?
And that's the thing. I don't think it's a sad free agent class. It's a sad state of the entire position. There's only 32 viable spots on earth, of which maybe only 12 to 15 are could be considered reliable, of which only 5 are really top tier, of which only one ever apparently wins.
I got one more free agent quarterback I purposely left off.
Okay, throw it at me.
Joe Flacco.
He's got to go somewhere. I mean, he not prove to the NFL, you bring me in, you got a chance to win.
You would think.
I read an article that it was tainted in that playoff loss. Like, dude, they got blown out. They didn't really barely belong in the playoffs. Look, you wouldn't have even been in that game if it wasn't for the way he played. He is better than at least 12 of the starting quarterbacks in the league right now.
And look, this is coming from a Ravens fan, from Kevin. I get it, but I am anti-Ravens. They're my second least favorite team, and I'm telling you right now, at least from I don't know about real football, a little bit real football, definitely fantasy. What if the Buccaneers don't bring back Baker? They do bring back Evans, and they bring back Joe Flacco. I'm taking Mike Evans as high as I can.
Yeah, you just got it's another Baker Mayfield with a little less mobility. Just a guy who's going to chuck the ball 42 attempts a game, and he's going to throw the ball deep. So, Evans is going to get at least one ball that's a catch at 40 yards or more. Might not be a TD, but he's going to get at least one long ball.
Who would
again, in the NFL, do you want to win, or are you more worried about what the press says because your quarterback's 39? Who gives a crap how old he is?
I bet Devontae Adams would prefer Joe Flacco over
all the trash that's been thrown to him all last year. Of course he would. He's going to get the ball. He's going to get a nice ball. He's going to get deep balls. I think Flacco could still stand flat-footed and throw a ball 65 yards in the air. He's got a cannon.
You mentioned Kirk Cousins to Atlanta. What about Justin Fields? There's obviously whispers about that going down.
There's him there. There's him going to Pittsburgh. There's him going to the Raiders. I still think the Bears are shooting themselves in the foot with all this. The more I read, the more I research, the more I think they shouldn't trade the pick, or that they should trade the pick and let Caleb Williams walk and just ravage another team.
That's so interesting you say that, because the more I read and the more I think about it, the more I say, get him out. Fields, that is. And take your pick at one.
It's all good.
There's so few quarterbacks that win Super Bowls, and I'm not convinced Justin Fields is going to do it. And if he can't win you a Super Bowl, find someone who can. Go for Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams doesn't work out, find the next guy.
Yeah, I guess. But they seem to finally be starting to build, and the pieces they could get to make up for all the other crap that they had, like that awful bottom 5 defense, and to bring in Marvin Harrison Jr. and all these things they could do. Man, I just don't see how Caleb Williams and then just what you still already have is going to solve anything. That's all they're really doing, because you're not going to get a lot for Fields. You're going to get maybe a second rounder this year and a third rounder next year for him. I don't think it's shoring up all the problems. And what we were discussing the other day, what could become the strongest division in the NFL for the next year or two.
And I mean, do you really feel Justin Fields can lead your team to win that division?
I think Justin Fields, with all those other pieces, has a better chance than Caleb Williams and the current Bears roster.
And I don't disagree with you here. My thoughts on this and where I stand, has been like a transition for me. This is not who I normally I am. Stick with your guy, stick with who you have, that kind of deal. But this is, I don't know. The more I look at, I study up on the history of the game and really see how these quarterbacks, these Patrick Mahomes, these Tom Brady's, these Peyton Mannings, those are the guys. You need to find yourself one of those guys. And
but you don't know that Caleb Williams is going to do any of that.
Right. But that's where
Brady
you take
was
that
drafted
gamble.
in the 6th round.
Right. That's where you take that gamble. And if it pays off, great. If it doesn't, man, you just throw another dart.
Normally I would agree with that logic, because I want to win Super Bowls. I hate the whole Ravens mediocrity crap. The Steelers, I hate the Steelers, but I can't believe they always defend Tomlin, defend this. Well, they've had 17 straight winning seasons. But win Super Bowls, and they did win 2, or 1 with him. You could get so much for that pick.
Correct.
For a guy that we don't know if he might be the next Jamarcus Russell. Last 3 years in the league. I'm not saying he's rolling on that purple drink, but he might lose 2 games here. He's up in the stands crying to mommy, doing his thing. I don't know that this guy's going to be. I think Trevor Lawrence, we thought was going to be the God who walked his man. He's had some success, but now it seems like he's not maybe flatline. He's maybe regressing. So there is no guarantee. What there is a guarantee is if you keep Fields, who is showing signs of improvement, the team loves him. And now you can trade Ravage, another team, and get all these holes that you need, like a left tackle, an edge rusher. You had a team that was finally, look at the end of the season. What, they won like 4 of the last 6 games, something along those lines, against some quality opponents. I don't know. You finally are having success, and what do we decide we're going to do? Well, let's just blow it up and start all over again. That doesn't make any sense to me. They're not going down. They improved. More wins, better offense, a little better defense. Fields looked competent at least. And now we're going to just explode it up again and start from scratch.
Finding a franchise quarterback is so difficult, but
it's a lot of it's luck.
Right. But if you do, that makes up for a lot of the other holes you have on your. I mean, think about those Colts defenses for Peyton Manning when he won in Indy. They weren't that good. They could get after the passer because Peyton Manning got him a lead, and then it was just rush to get after the quarterback.
They had Freeney, so that didn't hurt. They did have a couple good pieces, right? They didn't necessarily have top 5 defenses, but it wasn't like they were 28th in the league either. I don't know, dude. It's really, and whatever they do, it's the Bears, so it's going to most likely backfire.
So whatever they choose, we'll know which one of us
will be wrong. It's like us in fantasy. No matter what we do, it's going to be the wrong pick.
Do you realize Jimmy Garoppolo has a $28 million contract?
Yeah, a lot of people get paid a lot in the NFL with these guaranteed contracts. It's just the nature of the beast now.
Mac Jones is out.
Something I want to talk about here. Whenever you're done with all your bullet points of everything, we have two quick things I want to talk about.
I think that's it. Oh, but I do want to tease a little something for as we get closer to draft season. Caleb Williams is not my QB1 in this draft class. Have you watched film yet?
No, not. Caleb Williams and none of the others.
Yeah, Caleb Williams is not my.
Is May one?
What?
I guess there, because there's you got 20% of the ones online that have May at 1.
I'm not spoiling it, Kevin.
Oh, I didn't know that was a spoiler. My apologies.
What do you got? Have you been watching film yet? Have you broken anybody down yet?
No, I said I watched Caleb Williams. I watched Marvin Harrison just because it's fun to watch him. Just
okay,
man amongst boys.
Can I tell you something? You already screwed up. Because I've watched 7 wide receivers, and I'm not excited about any of them because I watched Marvin Harrison first.
Oh yeah, that sort of ruins it. Everything else is just guys getting his jock for him.
Give yourself a month before you look at any other wide receiver. Don't look at Harrison again. Give yourself a month to forget.
It's amazing how he's basically his dad, 4 or 5 inches taller.
And more dominant early. I don't remember his dad being this dominant in college. Was he?
He wasn't dominant, but he was pretty good.
I mean, he wasn't coming out the number 1 overall receiver.
No, he wasn't. Talent. He still went pretty high. I think, didn't they get him in the first round? It was either first or second round. They got him, or he went pretty. He was a day 1 or early day 2 guy. I'm pretty certain. I might be wrong about that. Are you looking it up right now, seeing where he got drafted?
I am. He was drafted 37th overall.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was either late first day or early second.
Yeah, Syracuse. I feel like I didn't realize he went to Syracuse.
Oh yeah, he was a Syracuse boy. Yeah,
interesting. Man, what a
Big East. I don't even know what's Syracuse even in anymore. Is there even such a thing as the Big East anymore?
Oh, are they like Syracuse? Are they in the Big Ten now?
I don't think they're big. Maybe ACC.
Maybe.
Who knows? Is there a Big East anymore? I can't. College sports is a joke anymore. A total freaking joke. See, they moved the thing to 12 teams today officially. The college football playoff, of which the top 5 seeds are the highest ranked 5 conference champions. It's all just so stupid, and Now to win the college championship, if you're ranked 5 through 12, you got to win 4 more games. They talk about injuries. They talk about this NIL mileage chunk. Now you're making all these guys play all these more games. Teams like half your roster leaves and goes to another school every year now. It's just so stupid. Players making 10 times what the coaches are.
Marvin Harrison had 5 seasons of over 1,300 yards receiving.
He was a monster, dude. And it's not like it was all him because he had Reggie Wayne on the other side for most of it.
Yeah.
So he was sharing. It didn't hurt that when you had Peyton Manning chucking it to you, but and he was short. What is Marvin Harrison senior? 5'11",
well,
6 foot?
They have him listed at 6 foot.
Yeah, because I saw the other day that he was closer to 5'11", and that his boy's 6'4".
He might be.
Can move in through the air like him. Runs a 4.39 40.
Well, Marvin Harrison, man, his body control, dude. He made a few catches. There's one I remember highlight running
Senior or
over the
junior?
middle. Senior.
Yeah.
Running over the middle, made this weird dive and catch with one hand. It was incredible.
Dude, a lot of receivers either have the great hands or they have the movement in the air. He was one of those 5% that can do both. Completely change, spin, blah, blah, but the ball just sticks to your hands, shake a guy, boom, 80-yard touchdown.
Let me give you this 8-year run of touchdown receptions for Marvin Harrison. 8 consecutive years. You ready?
Yeah.
12, 14, 15, 11, 10, 15, 12, 12.
Yeah.
Dude.
He's the old school Mike Evans, except with
what?
And more inflated, another 20% inflated numbers.
Man. Real quick before you go with your points, I do as far as film goes, I'm excited. I'm deep in it. I got 7 receivers. I told you I've done, I want to say 5 or 6 quarterbacks. I'm up to 5 or 6 offensive linemen. Brock Bowers, I did. No point in a running back. There's no running back going in the first round. I watched film on a couple guys, but hopefully be starting on defensive players next week.
But watch a running back go in the first round anyway.
Oh,
watch it happen. Right. After the Jahmyr Gibbs thing this year, I think that's going to really put in a couple of GM's heads like, well, maybe there's something to getting these running backs early.
And tight ends too. I haven't heard a single tight end not named Brock Bowers even floated in the first round.
Nope. No, me either. I haven't even heard a name.
Correct.
At all.
Name
regardless of the first round. I can't name another one in college football.
I was just getting ready to say, name one. Wow, dude, you're right. I mean, I'm going to get some obviously
right now. Not a one.
I dig a little.
So 2 quick things for me then. There's one thing that we always call the biggest joke, the biggest imaginary aspect
another tight end in college football.
Man, of the NFL. What is the most imaginary thing? If it's real, but completely imaginary and pretty much almost made up.
I'm excited where this is headed because I know the answer is a salary cap.
The answer is the salary cap. So they decided what today? The salary cap's going up another $24 million.
243 or something.
Yes. So as we've discussed so many times, people get online and they write all this junk on these forums, all these Facebook feeds and all this crap. Oh, I can't believe this. How are they? You people are idiots. We tell you all the time, it's fictional. It's imaginary because you sign these contracts, throw the money down the road when you know by the time it comes to fruition, the cap's going to be $75 million more. So it's moot. It matters not at all. It's
you know whose fault this is?
Stupid.
It's Mickey Loomis's fault. This dude was doing it before it was
brilliant. Cool. Yes, he's the trendsetter. Dude,
yes, he started on. Now everyone's doing.
Well, it's going to go up $20 million every year, and now with all these, put it on Amazon Prime, and then they're going to put. Now they're talking about maybe putting on Paramount Plus and adding extra games. The money just keeps going through the roof. So that all that immediately factors into the cap. So the cap goes up 20 to 25 million every year. So why not give a guy all this money down the road? It's never going to affect you.
There are 11 teams currently right now projected to be in the negative in terms of cap.
Yeah, and it means nothing.
Wait. The Miami Dolphins are 30th with negative 51 million. The Buffalo Bills are 31st with negative 54 million. Negative 54 million. The New Orleans Saints
always every year
are last.
They're always last. Them and the Eagles always the bottom two.
82 million below. Wow.
Imagine
Let's
that
do it.
reminds me of a Facebook feed I saw today. Some guy got on there who again has no idea what he's talking about, running his mouth how and just it just says look, 'cause all he looks at probably online is the straight salary. How Taysom Hill's making about $1 million more than Christian
Yeah, I saw that.
McCaffrey and Kelsey today. And I started reading the things like, when is somebody going to mention how this works? I must have read 50 posts, and finally one guy wrote how the money's backloaded. Like, how stupid. Do you research any of this before you start typing your BS that you know nothing about?
Click, click, click.
The overall contracts are not even remotely close in total numbers. It's just what their base salary is for an upcoming season. It has nothing to do with signing bonuses, how much money's been thrown down the road. It's just, why write when you're that stupid?
Well, someone's got to write dumb stuff, Kevin.
Well said. It's just frustrating. So the other thing with me, I'm going to ask you, in the entire scope, the entire landscape of the NFL, there's one guy who just can't seem to catch a break, who I consider the biggest loser of the NFL the last 2 seasons. A guy that could have had it all and for whatever reasons hasn't gotten it and made a decision that's really just screwed him over even more. Who is that man?
Well, you had me. I had an idea until you say he made a decision that screwed him over. Because I was going to say our guy Elijah Moore.
I'm going to give you one hint. It is not a player.
Oh, screwed himself
A guy
over.
that just seems to can't catch a break. A guy that, for all intents and purposes, should have been moved up long ago. And then this
Oh,
last
I got
offseason
it.
made the
I got it.
dumbest decision.
Eric Bieniemy.
Absolutely. This guy, I is there a sad? I mean, he makes Byron Leftwich's saga look like walking
He's
through
out.
Candyland.
He'll never be a head coach now, I don't
I
think.
know he just completely he kept getting screwed because the Chiefs kept winning, so he never got to have interviews. All the things are taken before he gets a chance to even be interviewed. He
I like that we
finally
say
gets a chance
Super
to move
Bowl
up. He
winning
decides
coordinator.
to go to the Commanders. Really? Who called it that that was going to be a total freaking disaster? This guy,
Hey, maybe that's the ego, that coach's ego coming out. Like, I'll
I
show
guess.
them.
So now he's relegated to giving pre-game pep speeches to his former team for no money.
I guess
What the hell? I mean, what an awful story. Because I love Eric Bieniemy. He deserves to be a head coach. But you're right, he might never be one now. I don't even know if he'll be an offensive coordinator after that.
you know, and it really, really doesn't help that Andy Reid just won the Super Bowl with even less weapons than he
Yes,
had when the enemy was
and
there.
completely without him.
And now we
So that
know.
just basically proves Bieniemy didn't
Yes.
necessarily maybe have a lot to do with it. Although I think he did. I'm just saying, but from the outside looking in, yes, it looks like God, maybe this guy just didn't have much at all after all. But wow, what a poor
No.
decision. He could have won another Super Bowl with the Chiefs this year, probably maybe named his position. But no, you go hit your wagon to Ron Rivera and the frickin' Skins and Sam Howell. Wow, is there a bigger drop off in the NFL than Pat Mahomes to Sam Howell? Don't. I'm sorry. I don't want to get you upset.
Calm
I know
down. That's
about your
my guy
man
you're talking
crush.
about here. You get Sam Howell's name out of your mouth. That's right. Oh, good stuff, buddy. That's all I got, man. I'm excited. I was talking to the old lady the other day, and I'm like, I'm really struggling to find, a time where, with a newborn and a almost 6-year old, and like getting this podcast in, because we have to have our schedules line up too, right?
And it's just going to
Um,
get harder now.
right. And she's like, well, it's off season. The Super Bowl's over. Can't you take a few weeks off? And I'm like, I'm finally excited
No,
again.
this is the part I like because I don't have to sit here
Right.
pissed off at how screwed I got over the weekend.
I was
Speaking
like,
of which, I did come in third place in the
okay.
once and done playoff league.
There you go.
I was proud of
Well done
myself for that because I had a rough start. I had the lowest points in the league in I think week one, and I came back to at least come in third out of like 15 people.
for you. All right, buddy. I'm gonna probably bring up some tight ends next week on the show. Do this whole 4-year thing in a row. See if we see any trends, things like that. Um, we should talk some Travis Kelce because he was kind of down and out, but then picked it up in the playoffs, and I don't know what to think of him for next year.
I think that I could tell you now what I think. He'll be a top 3 guy. That's it. Might be 1, might be 2, might be 3, but barring injury, he'll be in the top 3. Not enough tight ends are even used like him to surpass him.
Right.
So outside of some crazy scenario, I can't imagine he wouldn't be a top 3 guy.
All right, sir. If that's all you got, thank you everybody for taking a listen here or a watch. If you did on YouTube, make sure you check us out on Spotify and Facebook as well. Get Your Bell Rung Football Podcast. He is Kevin Reynolds. I'm Bobby Wall. We'll see you in hopefully a week.
See you, people.